Shut up and sit down.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the Fight for Liberty show live. Tonight, we have two very awesome guests, Miss Stacia Wilson and Mr. Zachary Josephs. But we get to start out with someone who I'm very excited to interview. I found her on Twitter and just got really interested in all the different things that she's doing, and then found out she's doing even more things. She is going to talk to us about some of the things that she has done and will do. So, Stacia, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, David. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, so I want to start out by talking about the first thing that actually caught my eye when I saw your profile. Is that you are a missionary kid from Japan, correct? Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm curious, what in your adult life do you miss the most about growing up like that overseas?
Well, I kind of feel like I've structured my life similarly. I'm nomadic, so I travel around, and even though I'm not part of the Christian community anymore, I found a dance community, and so I sometimes call myself a dance missionary because I travel around and I like growing communities. I like that. So yeah, so it doesn't feel that different. I wouldn't say I miss living in Japan. I always thought I would. I thought I would just live there when I grew up. But yeah, no, I prefer traveling around. It's a lot more fun, like jungles and stuff too. So
I can definitely agree with you there. I have thought I was going to put down roots in quite a few places, and none of them have ended up sticking. New York seems to be, it keeps coming back and back into my life. I've moved out of New York 3 times and I'm still here. So we'll see how, if that ends up being permanent. Nice. But so you're currently in Seattle, right?
No, LA.
No, LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have bad intel.
Surprise.
Okay. So how long have you been in LA then? I guess is a better question.
Oh, well, funny enough, before I was in LA, I was in Seattle. Okay. Yeah, so I've been in LA since last March. Yeah.
Okay. How are you liking it so far?
Well, my family's here, so I lived here from when I was like 18 or 19 to 26. So okay. I've lived here a while, but then I was nomading, and then I came back for COVID.
I like that as a verb, nomading.
Yeah.
Okay, so other exciting things going on. Today, you were to launch a media site. It's called Second Look News. So first, I want to ask you, what made you want to start a news site?
Oh, well, I don't remember the exact moment. I think it was when one of my friends from Unity, I was talking about, I was teaching dance, and I'm an entrepreneur, but I've been doing things in the dance community for years. So with COVID, the dance community has really taken a hit. And so I needed to find something else to do, to expand into something else. And so I was trying to find the thing. I also do coaching, lifestyle design coaching, but it's mostly coaching people in long-term travel lifestyles. And that also took a hit with COVID because I don't know how to maintain that right now. So I was looking for something new to get into, and very concerned about a lot of things I've been seeing, in current events. I know most of us, all of us are. And so, yeah, this friend suggested, what if you do a blog or like a news something, and just, charge $5 a month. And I was like, news? Oh, and then that set me off on that. And of course, I would try to make it bigger than he was like, you should just start a Substack or something. I was like, no, I'll make my own website and find a bunch of people to work with and let's make it big.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were supposed to launch today. And then last night, we decided we need to postpone. We weren't happy with the article yet. It has some good research, but we want it to go more in-depth explaining the research, if that makes sense. So yeah, so we're going to put it out later this week. We have 4 of us that are going to work on it this week. So
nice.
We're going to, yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, I can remember during the Capitol riots, because the idea started in January, and then during the riots, just watching and seeing the narratives that were popping up and thinking, I wish there was a way to like unify this, because the narratives were clearly dividing us further, and yeah, so every time a big event happens now, I just keep thinking, we need to get this news site up so that we have a way to, speak into this. Yeah.
I definitely can understand that feeling. There was many months of prodding and poking and people annoying me before this YouTube channel existed the way that it does. So there's a question from the comments, which I agree.
We have comments?
Saying we have comments.
Awesome.
So T4Y is asking, where did you go when you were nomading? It's saying that this topic needs a follow-up question or two, and I definitely agree.
All over. Kind of started within the US more, road tripping. We had a van. I had a boyfriend then,
Nice.
and we worked for a shoe company, and they gave us a van and told us to drive all over and vend at events. And
nice.
It was awesome. It was really awesome. So yeah, we ended up homeless in New York one night because we were staying with some dancers in New Jersey, and we missed the last train out. And the next day we were supposed to take a bus out of New York in the morning. So we're like, let's just hang out. And so we had adventures. Yeah. We saw Good Morning America.
Oh, nice.
We were wandering around and they were doing it, and it was so fun.
I do love that part of New York is you wander and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a thing. I accidentally almost walked through the set of Marvelous Miss Maisel night before last. I was just out smoking a joint, just going for a walk in the neighborhood, and so I had my headphones on and I was like super baked and I was just kind of like feeling it, and I was just walking, ignoring everybody. Everybody's got their masks on, everybody's kind of antisocial. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I almost just walked like right through the set. Somebody had to like stop me because I would not have noticed. That's funny. There were all these old ass cars, and like it was clearly like there's lights and shit. I should have known, but it's just so normal in New York that I was like, oh, there's a set here. Somebody will stop me if I can't walk, and they did. Yeah, right. So I was fine.
Well, I mean, LA is kind of like that too. When we went to vote, there was like a whole big production happening like right there at the voting center.
Nice.
Yeah.
Some documentary on how to vote?
No, it was actually like a TV show or something. Like they just happened to be filming there. I don't know why, but coincidence. Yeah.
It was part of the deal, you know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So places part of the steal. Yeah, they're right. Yeah. Yeah, other places. So we road tripped like up and down the East Coast, from Florida up to like Massachusetts a couple times, and went through the middle of the country, like Oklahoma, Texas, and stuff. So that was cool. I've gone up and down the West Coast a few times. And
And
then,
all over the place.
yeah. So that's within the US. And then I've been to Nicaragua and Mexico, but Nicaragua's as far south in this hemisphere that I've been, or this, yeah, whatever, in the Americas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Europe, all over. I really liked Kiev. That's the most kind of unexpected place I've probably been in Europe. Ukraine.
Interesting.
Don't
What brought you
tell
over
the
there?
news.
You're a Russian asset?
Right? I didn't say that. But yeah, there was a dance event in Kiev.
Hmm.
So yeah. And then all over Asia. Asia really feels like home. I spent 2019 just all over Asia. Actually, I went there for like an event in Japan and then ended up staying the whole year, but that wasn't the plan. I was going to come back in a couple weeks, and then just really liked Asia. Yeah.
Nice. Have you spent any time in Thailand?
Yeah.
All right.
About a month. Yeah.
Nice. Zach, the other guest tonight, lived there for a year and owns a coconut, or not owns, works with a coconut company. He actually developed the way to freeze dry coconuts so that you could ship them and then thaw them out without like losing any of the nutrients.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah,
So
he's a weird like scientist. He calls himself the resident mad scientist. So that's him. Tonight he's talking about financy things because he also got super into Wall Street bets and
nice.
that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that he could shed some light on that because I did not follow it past the first day or two. Like it happened, I was like, this is neat. And then it kept happening, and I was on information overload. So I just learn things on this show. That's all I do. I just have people on, and they teach me things.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I was super into Wall Street bets actually.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned. So you mentioned multiple times now that you've been dancing most of your life. What kind of dancing do you normally partake in?
Well, I started in preschool doing ballet, and did that till I was like 9 or 10, so about 5 years, and then took a break, and then got into ballroom when I was 16 and did that for a while, taught ballroom at studios. And then got into social dancing, like salsa. Yeah. And then from that got into West Coast swing. And that's what I'm obsessed with now.
Nice.
It's so fun. Yeah. I think it's the best dance style, but yeah.
I will have to try it sometime and see if I agree, because I don't think that I have ever never done West Coast swing. I've definitely it's been a while since I've done salsa, but I used to go salsa dancing a lot back in my hometown.
Oh, nice.
There's like a singular bar in Syracuse, New York that does salsa dancing on Friday nights. And so my sister and I used to go there fairly often. I was like, before I was even 21, I would get in because I would go to the salsa like class beforehand, which started at like 6, and they didn't start IDing yet, so I could get into that and then be there all night. And by then, no one had ID'd me, and I've looked like this for 6 or 7 years now. So,
Nice.
But salsa was fun. I miss that time period because it was a community of people that I never would have met otherwise. It was just a place that you always knew that you were going to have friends there, and just people all around you having fun, smiling, having a good time. It's just
Nice.
something that you don't get a lot outside of that dance world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's good that you did salsa because it's really hard to learn West Coast swing just from scratch. I mean, you can do it, people do it, but it's more complicated than salsa. So yeah, it's good to try salsa first and level up. No.
So I
Sorry,
should go
salsa
back
people
and
would be
brush
so mad.
up on my salsa before I try West Coast swing, is what you're telling me.
No, not necessarily. Just the fact that you've done it and you kind of get how lead follow works and moving your feet and stuff.
Okay.
That helps. Just yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you no longer consider yourself a Christian. I'm curious when that shift happened and what kind of caused that paradigm shift.
Hmm. Well, I started asking questions when I was a teenager. I think as a lot of people do, who, especially, if you grow up in religion, and wasn't getting great answers. But I can remember people like sending the pastor to talk to me. They were like, something's up with Stacia. We need to send the pastor to handle that and stuff. But I just always believed in being authentic, and so if it didn't make sense to me, I wanted to say so and not fake it, Yeah, so then when I was late teens, then I decided I didn't believe, but really I was just mad at God. Like I didn't know how to imagine a world without God, but I just was disappointed that he wasn't living up to my expectations, or it just seemed like he showed up for other people, and I was just like, he's not showing up for me, so I don't, and then I got back into religion or Christianity, but like a different vein of it, more charismatic, like Bethel and IHOP. I don't know, the International House of Prayer. Yeah,
I'm following that. You hit like my story like point by point so far too, for the most part.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
okay, but got
it
back
made
into
more sense
IHOP.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they actually believe that God did things and was like active in the world, and we just needed to kind of know how to relate to him, or how to pray for things. Like we needed to ask for things, and then he would do things. And I just found that I kept being disappointed. It felt like things would happen in my peripheral vision. Like people would tell me stories of, oh, God did this or God did that. And it was never when I was there. It was like always the week I missed, or when I was not looking, or, I don't know. It just felt like, and I would try to confirm it and couldn't confirm it. And it just felt, it didn't happen in my life, so I didn't see it directly. I don't know. I mean, I was like praying for people in the grocery store, kind of. I mean, that kind of thing, or on the street. I was like, if this is real, I'm gonna do it. I want to help people. If I guess the premise was that God wants to do things, right? And we just need to ask him. And so I was asking, I really tried. And I listened to so many sermons, kind of like how I am now with like Brett or different podcasters. I was kind of like that, but with sermons. Yeah. So I guess my point is just I was really trying, and I thought I really believed then, but then eventually I just realized I can't believe it's not playing out how, like, it's always the revival is gonna come or the healing is gonna come. It always was in the future, some vague, mirage. And so, I just realized I don't believe. I would like to believe. So I called myself an atheist Christian for a while, which
A
meant
little
I wanted,
oxymoronic.
but it's not. I feel like it makes perfect sense that you want to be Christian, you want to live as a Christian, but you can't believe God exists. And I mean, if faith comes from God, that's not my fault that I can't believe. Um, and
Fair.
and like I mentioned to you, like if there is no God, then I'm just as Christian as these other people, right? As long as I'm like living the culture. um so anyway, that was my logic. But now I'm very comfortable with, I don't think there's a God. I mean, I'm agnostic because I actually feel like atheism is almost
It's its
like,
own religion. It's like a religion against religion.
yeah, and I don't think you can be sure. I mean, there are things we can't explain yet, and I mean, like every culture has developed religions, so,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of similarities. I mean, maybe they came from each other, but like there could be something there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so agnostic, and kind of went through a process of like rebuilding my whole worldview and value system, and yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can relate to that, of like needing to find a value system outside of Christianity. If I don't know.
definitely. That was one of the earlier struggles. So you said it very well earlier. You said that you couldn't think. I think you said you couldn't think of a world without God or something
Yeah.
like that. That was my struggle for a long time when I first walked away from my faith. It was, I I was a Christian. Like I believed in Christianity and their view of like how creation happened, but I was like an anti-Christian. I was like, Christians are stupid. Like because I also couldn't believe like the Big Bang. The Big Bang made no sense to me. It was like that science is just as stupid, and my entire life is based off of this worldview of creationism. So I'm just gonna like keep believing. I was still like a young Earth Christian. I'm like the Earth is 10,000 years old, whatever. So I definitely can relate there. And then when I came back to the faith, it was for a similar reason that we're talking about. That it was a church that I got involved in that actually did stuff and cared about people and showed what I believed the Bible to actually be about, instead of this kind of normal, modernized, right wing evangelical version that I grew up with. Um, but the last year or so, I just started questioning bits and pieces of everything, until I was like, yeah, I don't. There's no way to know, and I'm not gonna base my entire life off of the answer to an unanswerable question. Uh, like, which I think is, how did we get here and where do we go? Like, we'll never answer those two questions, and I'm not going to base my entire life off of that. I'm going to base my life off of, liberty, individual freedoms, uh, charity, helping people, other things that I can actually see and know.
Mm, yeah. So is libertarianism your new religion?
I guess you could almost say that. I personally believe that libertarianism is within most organized religions. If you if you really look at the core philosophy of libertarianism, not the political like policy planks, but the core philosophy behind the ideals of libertarianism, most religions would back it up in the idea that you need to have a strong like moral society that helps each other, for society to exist without government or with limited government. You need the people to kind of fill in those gaps. So you need to be, there's so much in especially the kind of mid New Testament like Acts, like the first couple of the epistles about like how to handle relationships with other people in the church that are like crucial like libertarian planks to me, because it's just, it's
Interesting.
have conversations with people face to face, don't shit on them, don't steal their stuff, don't be an asshole, if your neighbor is doing something that you don't like, you're not gonna, you don't go call the cops, you go tell them that you dislike it. And then if they told you to fuck off, then you go tell somebody else. And there's a way to do it that limits government involvement. And I think Jesus was an anarchist, kind of, sort of.
That's so funny. I've never thought of that before, but I can see what you mean.
But in the same way, so was Buddha, and or most of the Buddhas, and the most most monks in like kind of a Hindu tradition would be kind of like anarcho-communists. So still fairly similar ideologies of just like existence without government.
Interesting. This is reminding me, weren't you the person who gave me the libertarian test and like the membership card? If there is such a thing. Was that you?
Because, I don't think so.
Really? Are you sure? Because okay.
I haven't. Okay. I don't send the test out very often, so I feel like I would remember if I had. But that does kind of sound like something that I would have done for you.
Well, I think it was you. I don't know. I have in my head that it was you. Okay. I could be wrong, but
as long as it's a happy memory, I'll accept it as a memory for me.
I mean, if it was you, you get credit for making me think I might be libertarian. I mean, I was already thinking that, but you gave me you brought me into libertarian Twitter, which is a very nice place. I
definitely can take a little bit of credit for bringing you into libertarian Twitter, because you comment. I cannot remember. I was trying to remember this morning for the purposes of this show what I actually saw you on, but you had some like just really super based comment on some post that I was like reading down through the comments of, and I was like, that's a great take. And I saw your picture and I was like, she looks like she's a cool person. So I clicked on your picture, I read your bio, and instantly sent your bio to Stacy for truth. And I was like, I think I just found my new best friend, because I like stalked you for like 5 minutes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love everything she's posting. And so I said, I just like told, and Stacy and I were talking like in like a deep conversation while I was doing this. So just sent it to her and was like, I think I just found my new best friend. And then she followed you and started like DMing you and talking to you, and I was like, okay, yeah, you do that. I was just gonna stalk, but okay.
That's funny. That's so funny.
But I'm definitely glad that happened, because I had no idea how many awesome things that you had both done in the past and were working on. And Second Look is really exciting. I'm really stoked to see some of the stuff that comes out of there, for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, me too.
So what's the 5-year plan? Everything goes well. You're doing like your dream job. 2024 election is over. What's going on?
Oh wow, 2024 election will be over then. Well, I mean, hopefully Second Look will be a force to reckon with. I mean, I really think if
Yeah.
we're gonna do it, like, I don't want it to just be a little blog. I want to like market it and network and first we need to get our content solid, and get our system for pumping out good content. But once we have that, then want to really grow it. So yeah, hopefully in 5 years I mean, we'll see how it goes, but right now, I'm hoping that will be successful. And part of another reason why I started it is that I figure we have 4 years now until 2024, and
Mhm.
I had wished that I had a platform to promote, alternative candidates and Unity
Yeah.
2020, and just um, yeah. So the more we can make platforms that have big audiences that can make some dent in getting the word out, outside of mainstream media, I thought that would be good. So yeah, hopefully we will have made a difference in 2024 by then. And hopefully dancing again. I would like to be all-star by then. Um, that was my goal before COVID happened. Was I was like trying to go to every event and compete and make all-star. I didn't make it, but getting sorry, I got excited when I talk about all-star.
All right, calm down,
Yeah.
breathe. Okay.
So, okay, I'm gonna have some. This is chai tea and Irish cream.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
it's so
sounds
tasty.
delicious, man. I'm
So
I'm
good.
a little bit sad. I'm house sitting at the moment, and these people don't have a coffee pot.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I don't
it's
drink
a
coffee
problem.
from a coffee pot. But instant coffee is just as good. In my personal opinion. If you just get
Oof,
the granules that you like put in
hurts.
you pop it in a cup, pour some hot water on, and it's ready.
Oh, hurting my soul a little bit here. Okay.
It's just as
I'm not
good.
a
Just
coffee snob, but I am a little bit, like the tiniest bit of. So, like, I will drink gas station coffee because, like, I'm not actually a coffee snob, but I know and care too much about coffee a little bit, like, to where I've had like some really fancy kind of like pour over and like French press coffee makers and stuff like that. Uh, I definitely
fancy.
yeah.
But
Not
sometime you
instant.
should have someone trick you and see if you can tell.
Uh, so there was actually I lived off of instant coffee for a short period of time while I was in New Hampshire working for Tulsi Gabbard because
Oh.
someone who didn't know the difference because they don't drink coffee bought instant coffee for the office. And
Mm.
I almost murdered them, but I didn't because I
Oh
love
no.
her. But yeah, it was not a great time, especially because it was for the office. So like, it wasn't just me that was feeling this pain. It was all of the people that were making phone calls for Tulsi for like a week of instant coffee. Not a great time, but all worked out. We got 3%. So
The win.
yeah. So I did want to bring up a little bit of the fact that you were actually like actively involved with Unity 2020, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because I just kind of saw it as like a thing that was happening on Twitter, and I never really got involved in any way, and I didn't really know how to. So I'm curious, like,
Mm.
what was your involvement and what was your experience?
Hmm. I was head of outreach. No, I'm sorry. I was an outreach lead. I think that's the term. We had a lot of different terms. I was involved in, so we had like our team, and we would meet and we would talk about how to do outreach on Facebook and Reddit, and how to connect with influencers. And so we had like a big document, and we would email people and try to, drum up support. I've never worked in an actual campaign, so I don't know if that's at all what it's like. Um, but it was super fun and like grassroots, and um, we had multiple days of action. Those were so fun, because it was like, um, there were various rooms, um, and we'd have different projects. So outreach, our team always um, had a room where we would like have people working on, reaching out to different people throughout the day, and it felt kind of like a conference, and like the leadership, the steering committee would like talk to
Mm.
us about, the vision and stuff. And yeah, it was really fun to meet people that way, work together. Yeah, did you hear about we got banned from Twitter, like
I
suspended?
did.
Yeah,
That
that was
was
pretty crazy.
I did they ever explain it?
No, not really. I
Not
mean,
surprised.
yeah, they said we had, I want to say it was like that we had created accounts or had bots promoting the hashtag that we got trending, but we did an internal audit and that wasn't the case. Um, yeah, so yep, no explanation really, and never got the account back. So that was pretty crazy, and that's like one of the things I look to when I think of, some people, like some accounts when they get banned, you're like, they were kind of like, it kind of makes sense, you can kind of see why. But Unity, I mean, there should be. Are you okay? Are you dying? Don't
Just a little bit.
die.
It's not COVID. It's from weed. I promise.
um,
Yeah, I really loved watching the concept of the Unity Party happen, and it got me really, really, really excited. And you can actually go back like 2 months to an episode that I did with my friend Reed, where him and I were arguing about
mhm.
whether or not Unity was like, because I said that the people that were involved with Unity 2020 should be like number one on our list to reach out to as the Libertarian Party,
Oh
and
yeah,
and the
they should be.
not that yeah
I
not that there was
agree.
like a whole lot of pushback on that idea from anyone, but there was a little bit of um, an argument just because the LP got butthurt a little bit from some of the things that happened, and there was drama in like on some minutia. Apparently, I don't pay attention to that shit personally,
Mm,
and I'm just trying to get as many people to stop voting for war criminals as we
yep,
can.
yep.
Like,
Agree with you there. Um, well, did you hear about Unity's plan related to the LP? Like,
yeah, for ballot access.
yeah, I'm kind of curious
Yes.
what you thought about that.
Well, there was definitely not a great reception to that from from the Libertarian Party, because we were also running our own candidates, and
Hmm.
had put in a lot of work to get that ballot access, and especially after you guys picked Dan Crenshaw, I was like,
Oh my gosh, I was so mad.
yeah.
There were so many of us, and funny enough, even a lot of the conservatives in Unity weren't happy with him.
I mean, he's an
Um,
awful human. Like, he's just severely one of the worst politicians.
he
Just,
came on our Unity podcast and said he didn't see any corruption in Washington and was blaming the left for like liberals for all these things. And I was just like, oh my God, he can't be the one. Like he can't be a Unity candidate. And
mm.
so that I I almost quit then, but we had I don't know. I'm so nervous to talk about this live. I don't actually know. Well, we had
The
like
inside scoop here.
there were a bunch of us trying to get a mosh on the ticket. Um,
See, if that was the case, I would have been very, very much more on board with it.
well, if the libertarians had been on board, I think we could have gotten a mosh. So it was kind of a chicken and egg thing where we were like,
I mean, he could have had our line if he wanted it. He chose not to.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't. I have a little bit of a little bit of hard feelings from me and plenty of people that I know towards Amash about not
for
running,
not running.
but
Really?
just like not in a way where like I would actually where there's actually any hard feelings, but just like a little bit of like I really wish you hadn't done that, because like that was
Mm.
like you got us really excited. There were a lot of people that put in a bunch of work into his like on the grassroots level for his campaign, for him to like not actually end up running.
So he
So
started campaigning?
yeah, he launched an
Oh,
exploratory committee,
okay.
um,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
he participated in I think two of the libertarian primary debates,
Mm,
and a couple of the polls, and then
mm.
ended up announcing that he was not going to launch a candidacy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there were a lot of people that were like, oh, but there's those hard feelings are for sure gone for most people. And honestly, the Liberty Unity thing that's happening right now is
Mhm.
all in is was kind of all a branch off of the Amash Gabbard 24 group
Mm,
on Twitter, and
mm,
so that spun off into Liberty Unity, which is now a little bit more Libertarian Party central, uh,
mm.
but it, it's I think we saw unity become a an important topic in a lot of different realms of the political sphere this year, and I think if we can get all of that to work together, we might be good.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I don't know how to do that, but I feel like that's super important. I mean, that's what I hoped Unity, like Unity 2020 would pivot to become. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if we need someone who's kind of heading that up and drawing, all these different groups together. I don't know if the groups separately will come together. I don't know. It seems like people kind of have their own thing and then are like, "You're doing your thing and that's good, and I'm doing my thing." And um, I don't know. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in the libertarians for not getting on Unity 2020 because we were like, we need to come together now. Like we're trying, to do this thing, and it just felt like the libertarians were like, well, we're doing our own thing, so
Yeah,
you do your thing. And and it was kind of disappointing. Just
I mean, as one of those libertarians, it would have been a lot more, or I could guarantee that it would have been a lot better received had it happened, um, in a little bit of a different way, you know, where the
Yeah.
Unity was offering something to us other than candidates that neither one of which were even, you know, I have arguments all day every day about Tulsi and how she's not a real libertarian. Like uh, Gabbard Crenshaw was extremely cringe, and most of us just kind of saw it as, you know, that Unity wanted to take these two candidates who neither one like really expressed an interest in actually running, and take what we had put 50 years of work into achieving. Um, you know, we would have loved to have worked with you guys. We would have
Mhm.
loved to have, you know, come together, but we're just going to give up ballot access to something, you know, after, you know, blood, sweat, and tears that we put into gaining that ballot access in all 50 states. Like, that's really hard. And I think that's something that not a lot of people, even the people that are talking about starting a new Trumpian party, they don't understand how much work it takes to get ballot access in 50 states. And the fact that we've done it for 4 years in a row now, or four, you know, cycles in a row now, is the only time it's ever happened in American history
Yeah.
for a third party to have ballot access like that. So I
Yeah.
definitely I understand that people weren't just gonna kind of hand that over. I definitely did wish that there could have been some kind of a resolution where we worked together, where it was Amash Gabbard and it was um, in 2020 and not 24, and that we had you guys and us together on the same thing, because the
Mhm.
Libertarian Party is lacking techie people and youth and money, like
Mm,
very much so.
yeah.
You know, the two movements complemented each other very well,
Yeah.
and it could
Mhm.
have worked well together. I think
Yeah.
we have a chance to do that next time around.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's we just
Yeah.
have to have more conversations like this and work a little bit more together. And by 24, everyone will have forgotten 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good that, like, from Unity, a bunch of things have branched off, and people are, you know, trying to start things. So hopefully
Mhm.
we can prepare for 2024, because I think it's going to be really important.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Do you think the Libertarian Party has a chance in, like, like, to win?
In
Um,
2024.
yeah, like if it was Amash Gabbard, um, like, just in terms of the system, because I think of, like, Unity getting kicked off of Twitter. I
Hmm.
think of the GameStop thing and how they shut down trading, you know,
Hmm.
and it just seems like the system is rigged in such a way that it doesn't let power change hands, you know?
I
Um,
definitely can understand that, and I definitely feel the same way for the most part. I do think that an Amash Gabbard ticket in 24 could win with a bunch of caveats. Right?
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
if a bunch of other things happen in the next 3 years, that's a
Yeah.
solid chance. And you know, there were a couple of things that happened this time around, but with Amash and Gabbard separately, that give me a lot of hope for a chance for something real to happen. You know, when Amash announced that he might run, Mark Cuban said that he would spare no expense to make sure he was on the ballot in all 50 states. Like
Oh,
that
nice.
was that, you know, we spend 3/4 of our time, money, and energy in getting candidates on the ballot. That's what the Libertarian Party spends most of their time doing, is getting ballot access. When presidential years come around, getting that 50 states plus DC takes almost everything we have during those petitioning times. And wipes out our bank accounts and burns out a bunch of volunteers and never come back and never do anything else for the campaign because they petitioned for like 6 days in a row. If we could just have that covered by somebody outside the party, just like funded by just, if we could just have ballot access covered by another group that's not currently in the party yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the people who are already in the party could do with the rest of that campaign would be amazing. But in the next 3 years, if all we have is the people we have right now, I failed at life and all of my friends failed at life because we need to quadruple in size in the next 4 years. Like if we are still running the same type of a campaign that we did this year in 2024, no, we're not going to win. If we actually do some real stuff and we actually bring some people together, there's more things like this. Or, my friend Reed interviewed Kim Iverson the other night. We're having crossover conversations with different groups about what it means to be actually anti-establishment, because Bernie Sanders is not anti-establishment. AOC is not anti-establishment. We need to stop letting people be like controlled opposition and fake it, and realize who are our actual allies in this fight, and who are our real enemies. Because the people who are 90% in agreement with you but have a different identifier as where they politically stand, that's not your enemy, right?
Yeah. So what do you think of Movement for a People's Party?
I have not done nearly as much research into that as I did Unity, but it sounds really cool. I'm all for it. I definitely believe that the ideal America is like a 5 to 7 party system, like a robust, active, competitive 5 to 7 party system where Congress has someone from at least 4 or 5 of those parties. So I think that there needs to be, as much as I want to see left and right libertarians unite to break through this, I think we need to come together maybe for 24, maybe behind Amash Gabbard. So I'm not a big fan of other third parties springing up, but in the spirit of liberty and equality, I want as many healthy, robust parties that have a legitimate chance to do something, because I think at the end of the day, what we need is a Green Party and a DSA party and a Democrat and Republicans and the conservatives, all with congressional representation.
Yeah. I mean, Japan even has a communist party, and they have some people in Congress or in Parliament, and that's fine. We can have a couple, communists giving their input. But
there are gonna be some people that watch this show that don't like that sentence. But the thing is, I agree with you. And people aren't gonna like the fact that I agreed with you either. Because I don't think that the word communist means necessarily anti-liberty or anti-freedom or bad things. But
if we want to talk about communism, I've heard communists talk who say we can't truly have liberty until everyone has some economic baseline, because if people have such vastly different amounts of wealth, are you really free to be homeless, or is that really freedom?
Right.
So yeah, there are some communists who care about liberty too.
I definitely have been a part of quite a number of those types of arguments, and it's actually the basis of why I started out. So Liberty Unity is kind of an offshoot of what was Bottom Unity, which you're familiar with the political compass with the four
Oh.
quadrants. So you've got the
Mm-hmm.
right and left economically, and then top to bottom authoritarian. So you have bottom right libertarians, bottom left libertarians. So bottom unity is the same thing as liberty unity, or just the idea of unity in general that's been
Nice.
for the last year and a half. But so bottom unity was kind of this idea that we needed. It was more extremist, I should say, than like liberty unity in its origin. It was a lot more of like anarcho-communists and anarcho-capitalists kind of getting along, so like the very bottom pieces. But it was supposed to be anyone that's below that line of just, as long as you're not authoritarian, you're part of this group. And so that's what got me actually like super involved with like the inner party politics of the Libertarian Party, and then eventually into this liberty unity thing. Was I saw way too many people saying stuff like left libertarianism is a ideological fallacy, or all commies deserve one-way helicopter rides, or other things like that. For the record, YouTube, I'm not condoning any of these words, so please don't remove me. So I was seeing stuff like that, and I was like, no. Like, I have friends that are, left libertarians who believe that, maybe we could have some kind of single payer health care, but also, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon. And they want term limits, they want all of these other things that we want. Like, they're okay by me. UBI is so much better than what we have right now. Can we just agree that that's a step, like a giant leap in the correct direction?
Yeah. Or here's another thing. When you have like government run healthcare, I'm pretty sure you can go to any doctor, so like growing up in Japan, it almost felt more free than in the US, where you have like PPO or whatever, like your insurance is so kind of limits your options.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are so many awful things about the American healthcare system. To be fair, 98% of the problems with the American healthcare system are thanks to the government. They can, like, almost every problem you can point to a regulation that created it. Because, like, especially in America, we have a limit to how many people can get a medical license each year. Like, first of all, we have multiple states where you need the government's permission to open a hospital or a doctor's office. You need to file for a certificate of need. You have to prove that this area needs more hospitals for you to be able to build a hospital. So there's
any
like
of those bad things though?
Well, I mean,
like
if you have the problems are that people aren't getting those certificates of need when there's a clear need. Like I live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's a problem then.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Brooklyn where you can't go to the hospital and get seen within an hour. That's just not a thing that happens anywhere in this city.
Really?
No, like every hospital in New York City is overcrowded. Every single one of them.
Wow.
But they don't build more because they can't. And so what actually happens though is the people that vote on whether or not you get this certificate of need is a board that is comprised of other hospital executives.
Oh, great. Okay. That does sound like somewhere the market would take care of it better.
Yeah, just a little bit. Because they get to vote and say no, we don't want competition. And this is a thing in like most major cities, and in a majority of states of the country, actually. And some of these like range to the point where sometimes you need a certificate of need to open like a private practice doctor's office, and like lots of other things. I think you shouldn't have to prove that your business is a necessity. Like, the market will prove that. If you can afford to open, fuck it. Like, I don't care if there isn't a need, you'll go broke. Like, why? Who is the government to say who can and can't start a business? And
Yeah.
people would question whether or not you should call a hospital a business, but
I would say that sounds like an issue of corruption, because right now our government is like owned by corporatists, like it's run by, people who have conflicting interests, right? Like if they own the hospitals, they shouldn't be setting the policies. Um,
mhm.
so I don't know. It almost seems like a separate conversation than like who should run them. Um, yeah, first we got to take care of the corruption.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe.
That all happens by electing the revolution. Just slowly but surely, one by one, you vote. We got to vote these people out, and we
Oh
will
man.
eventually.
Yeah.
What?
Star voting. I'm going along that train of thought of, okay, we need to elect them out, but we're not going to be able to elect them out because of the voting system, first past the post, and because the media won't give them attention, and because, so it's like we have to go back many steps to get to
Do you
the
want to
point.
explain star voting for people watching? Because TJ mentioned it in an episode a couple weeks ago, but didn't actually get to explain it. So, and I don't know enough about it to explain it well. So, could you please explain it for people?
Well, basically, it's like, have you ever left a review on Amazon or Yelp or something?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Most of us have. So star voting is just like that, but for politicians. So like maybe Biden you feel is a 2, and maybe Amash is a 5, or whatever. And so you rate the politicians based on how much you want them to be your politician. Does that make sense? So like you can give them a 0, right? Give them no stars, or you can give, like, let's say that both Yang and Gabbard Amash are running, and you're like, oh, I like both. Either would be fine. Either would be better than anyone else, So you could give both 5 stars. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
yeah. So we could just give the alternative candidates all 5 stars, and support them all. And we don't have to choose. So we could vote for the Movement for a People's Party, like give their candidate 5 stars, and give the Libertarian one 5 stars. Then we're not competing against each other.
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best. And we all know how to do it, right? Like, yeah. So anyway, and then there's a whole way that the system works, like with a runoff, and I don't understand how the calculations work. It is simpler than ranked choice voting. Like that one is super hard to explain the calculations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also salty against ranked choice after we got Crenshaw from the Unity ranked choice vote. I was like,
that would make me salty too. So I'm extremely interested. We are about to see the first, I'm pretty sure, the first mainstream election that uses ranked choice voting in America this year, because the New York City mayoral Democratic primary will be by ranked choice voting. So this is going to be like a nationally covered, extremely expensive campaign that is going to be by ranked choice. So it will be a fun little test to see how this actually works and whether or not it actually helps anti-establishment candidates, and if it helps the little guy. If Yang wins, it helps the little guy. If he doesn't, then probably not.
Well, I'm a little concerned. Like it takes a lot to change the system, right? Like we barely have ranked choice anywhere. And it's good that at least it changes people's mindsets to actually consider a third party. But if we change it to ranked choice and it doesn't have that big of an impact, which I kind of don't think it will. I mean, actually, the stats show that it's not that much better than plurality voting. And so I don't know. There's all this research that has been done into voting systems, and it shows that like as far as I know, star voting is one of the best and simplest. And then there's others like approval, which I think you just say yes or no for any candidate. I think, or yeah, okay. I can't explain that one, but but I know that you don't need to change your ballot for that one, right? The downside of star voting is you have to change the ballot.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just a little concerned that
fine.
we're gonna work so hard to change it, and then it's not going to make that much of a difference, and people will just be disillusioned again. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like our hope has to really be kind of protected right now. I feel like so many of us, it feels like we keep getting hit down. And so I don't know. I'm just a little concerned that it won't turn out how we hoped, and then we'll get discouraged. And anyway, hopefully not. Ranked choice is better than plurality, but I don't think it's the answer.
Yeah, maybe what happens is we show that ranked choice voting isn't super great by this election, and then we start as a country deciding which ones are better. Because I do think ranked choice voting has like this it's the only one everybody knows, right?
Exactly.
You
That's a
can
little
either have what we
concerning.
have or this other thing. Like it's the only change. Like you
That's
either rank choice or
concerning.
nothing. Yeah.
I'm like a little concerned that it's a conspiracy. Like, let's give them another option that's not that much better, but they think it's better, so they'll spend all their energy on that. And yeah, because it's weird that everyone knows about ranked choice and it's actually not that much better.
Yeah, I mean I thought it was great until my friend TJ and you almost simultaneously started shitting on it, and I was like, okay, I guess this thing that I campaigned for isn't great, because I actually like helped get it passed in New York City, and because it was on the ballot. It was a ballot initiative in 2019, along with my city council race. So I like campaigned hard on it. And yeah, now I'm finding out that like it's not great. But again, it is
It's
at least a
better.
smidgen better.
Yeah,
It's a smidgen better.
Yeah, and it hopefully can change people's mindsets to start considering a third candidate as a viable option. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully it's definitely a move in the right direction, but yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have our second guest for the evening. Mr. Zach Josephs is coming on in. Zach, welcome back to the show.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach.
Do you know Stacia?
I don't think we've met, actually.
Okay. Well, you guys are probably in more than one group chat together at this point, but now official introductions here. So so if you weren't listening, we were discussing the failure that is ranked choice voting.
We can't really have it with gerrymandering.
No. But what happened in your state this year was something even worse on the side of voting, and Colorado actually voted to give up its presidential voting privileges.
What?
Right?
Colorado, now the electors go with whatever the popular vote is in presidential elections. That's the thing now.
Yep. The national popular vote, whoever wins that
The
gets
national-
Colorado.
Yeah.
National popular vote gets Colorado's electors.
All 9 of them.
How is that constitutional?
I think probably because it was voted on. That's the worst part. Is that what was it?
It passed,
72?
like it was by a lot.
Like 72% this passed by ballot, like along
so
with
confused.
Biden winning. They also checked the box to
People who
get
are
rid of.
very, very vote blue no matter who kind of people, and they haven't been happy that Bush would win after losing, or Trump won after losing the national popular vote. So that's actually, I think it's been on the ballot here a couple of times. It just finally passed.
What I think is absolutely hilarious is that there's no universe where passing that helps the Democratic Party ever.
Ever.
Like unless in some weird world the Republicans lose the popular vote but win Colorado
Well,
and the electoral college.
there's little asterisks on this, which is this bill doesn't actually go into effect until more states adopt it as well. So until enough states that have 270 electors actually adopt this, it doesn't count. But the second that there are states that count for all of that, they're just always going to go with the national popular vote, and that's just going to be the way things are.
Okay, so at least that makes a little bit more sense that they're not just like throwing it away by themselves. That gives me a tiny
there's
bit
a
more
coalition of states that agrees that popular vote's better than electoral college. So
I see. Okay. Yeah.
but
still
Interesting.
stupid.
states who disagree just don't really get a say in it anymore. Because 270 electoral votes in whatever number of states always going with the national popular vote means we have a national popular vote instead of an electoral college vote.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a way around that.
I
It
think
is
they're
an-
actually pretty close now. I think there's like 200 something elector votes between the states that have a policy like this. Colorado's not the only one.
Interesting.
Really? I was
Yeah,
under
the
the
other
impression
ones
that
that
you guys
were
were
not
the
first.
only stupid people. I guess
This country's full of them.
that's true. That is true. This country is very much full of them. So-
That would be super interesting to see how that plays out. Because if that actually happens, and we turn to a popular vote because of that, I don't know. I feel like at some federal level, like any politician from states that aren't counted are going to be super upset and try and fight that somehow. But I don't even know how you could go into other states and change the way their electoral votes work. So
I don't
it's
think
gonna
you
be interesting.
can. It will
Yeah,
be.
and honestly, like it has been a while since Republicans really won a lot on the national popular vote front. So
Mhm.
that probably would actually play towards Democrats, at least right now, the way things are.
Oh, for sure. For
So,
sure.
I mean, has there ever, like, especially recently, been a Democrat who won but lost the national popular vote? Or is that kind of a Republican thing now?
It's never happened that way. No Democrat has ever won the presidency without the popular vote.
Yeah, so a rule like that would screw Republicans almost exclusively.
Yep. To be fair, it's only happened 5 times in the history of the country, but it was all
2 in
Republicans.
the last, like, 2 decades.
Also true. But we do have some faith in America stemming from our financial system, which was more why I wanted you coming in here, Zach, having become an unofficial financial advisor out of nowhere in
I've never given
random
financial
meme
advice.
coins and GameStop stocks. So there's a lot of confusion about what happened the day of GameStop and AMC. So could you just give me like a 5-minute synopsis of what actually happened, why people made money, why people lost money?
Okay, so imagine I go to you and your GameStop and I say I want to I want stocks, but I get them on a loan, and I think that your stock price is going to go down. So I immediately sell those stocks, right? And I assume the price is going to go down, and in a week I'll go buy more stocks and pay you back because I owe you in number of stocks, not in the amount of money that I borrowed. So that's how it's called shorting. That's what
Right.
the shorting is, and that's how you kind of turn a profit that way. But what happened was a bunch of meme lords on Reddit basically found out that this one hedge fund, Melvin Capital, was over shorting GameStop stock. So they went and just started buying the stock, which drove the price up. So then when the contract's up and Melvin Capital owes GameStop their stock back, the price of those stocks is astronomically higher than when they borrowed, and they have to buy them and pay GameStop back. So that was the sort of like setup for all of this. And then the fallout, and honestly, I mean, David, I'm sort of a doomer, little black pill, kind of an accelerationist. I normally don't have a ton of faith, but this whole thing is actually really like I think it's a really good thing that's happening. It shows a lot of creativity on the side of the people and how to like work with the crazy corrupt system that we have. But it's just interesting. The Senate was super upset that a bunch of Reddit people were about to like bankrupt this hedge fund, and also like people who are invested in that hedge fund. So the SEC and I think Elizabeth Warren had something to do with this. I went over to Robinhood. Robinhood's the app that everyone's downloading now that lets you buy fractions of stock. So they went to Robinhood and basically said, you have to stop buys. No one's allowed to buy GameStop stock, but they can sell. So that artificially drove the price down so that the hedge funds could buy in at a lower price and not go completely insolvent. But then the backlash from that has kind of been this giant move towards cryptocurrencies, which is I mean, it's a whole kind of new battlefield for this, where the hedge funds don't actually have a leg up yet, and most of the richest people are like between the ages of 19 and 24.
Yep.
And
I'm so happy to talk to you, Zach. Because I mean, I was really big on the GameStop game. I almost just said GameStonk, and I don't know if that's the official term, but yeah. I was
GameStonk.
Yeah. I was really into it too, and really hopeful from it. And yeah, it's cool to talk with someone else who gets it, because some people didn't get it, and I was like, this is not about investing, and so yeah, I'm sorry, continue.
What was really about it, and what really created this whole situation wasn't just the shorting of GameStop. I'm going to say it now.
Right.
What happened was there was more shares of GameStop. Oh my God, let's just get me stuck. It was 140% of all the stock that was sold. So even after all of the stock on the market had been bought and paid back to GameStop, there were still like 40% shares that they had to keep buying, which doesn't make sense mathematically. It would have driven them completely insolvent, just immediately, like drives the price straight up to infinity, because you can't really buy stocks that don't exist for, So
do you think it's still going to go up? I'm still
probably
holding.
not in that way. I mean, really, that whole stopping the buys of it really put a stop to the short squeeze.
Yeah.
But there, that happened in smaller ways, and honestly, there's still companies out there that have contracts open for shorted GameStop stock. And I don't think it'll play out the exact same way, because there won't be as tight of a squeeze because the price hasn't been driven up as far, but it'll probably get a bump or something in the next couple of days. But no, that's mostly kind of over. And I mean, really, everyone's paying attention to cryptocurrency now, and that's like the big. That's where, I mean, it happened so quick. All of these massive institutions adopting cryptocurrency or opening up departments to deal with it, like Visa and PayPal, MasterCard, all have $1 million departments now with hundreds of people working in it, developing ways to manage this and track it and organize and trade. And for the longest time, like actually for the entire time up until now, all these institutions thought, oh, magic internet tokens, who cares? That's not real money. But they know better than anyone that money it only has value because people agree that it has value. And you kind of hit a tipping point with all of this. Cryptocurrency, people are saying, oh, this is a thing with value. Especially, and I think the pandemic had so much to do with it because of lockdowns. Like all those jobs, that started being remote or being done remotely, where people said you can't do those jobs remotely. And it's just sort of pushed this into digital spaces. So people have been going into brick and mortar banks less. They've been doing more digital banking. So the idea of money just being digits on their screen isn't weird or foreign to them. So, whether or not you have, 1,000 digits here or 500 and 500 in cash and crypto, people, they're starting to just sort of adopt it as like another kind of stock or investment.
Yep.
And eventually it'll move to another kind of just currency to buy and trade with. And it's really kind of crazy. There's going to be a lot of regulations that come down the pipe because of this, just because, Congress didn't really deal with this as though it were real money. So there aren't a whole lot of tax laws in this. Like I see people saying like, yeah, I haven't paid taxes for years just because it's in cryptocurrency, which is like it's in stock. So that doesn't really get taxed until you take profit from it.
Well, that was kind of the whole point of cryptocurrency in the beginning, was for it to be something that was outside of the view of the people who you didn't want viewing your money. So it wasn't taxed. It wasn't, you could use it for whether it was you were trying to avoid taxes or you were trying to sell drugs. Like either way, it was something that people weren't tracking. Which is why it pisses me off. I see Coinbase keep sending me notifications like, learn how to do taxes for your crypto. I'm like, no, that defeats the point. I'm not doing taxes.
Yeah.
A, I didn't make enough, and B, I'm not doing taxes on my crypto. It's never going to happen.
Well, there's a big difference between like Coinbase and having your own crypto wallet. Coinbase is an
Also
exchange,
true.
right? So the exchange is technically holding all of your coins in like a big bank account that they run, and they're just moving digits around so that they know what you owe if you ever cashed out. But it's not really your crypto. So they are reporting to the SEC. People like Coinbase or all the American exchange companies, they're reporting, and they have to pay taxes and deal with that in a real way. So there's a good number of people who are saying don't keep your crypto on exchanges unless you are actually trying to trade. Otherwise, move them off to a wallet, because then that's the only way that it's actually really private. That's you owning it, you having it, maybe on a thumb drive, but that's still a physical thing that's worth all of the coins that are loaded onto it.
Yeah.
But
for the record, if anybody wants to donate to the channel in crypto, we do have a Bitcoin wallet, and it's you can find that on the pinned tweet at Fight for Liberty. We accept. I will get on that. Literally, that was on the to-do list for today, and instead of doing that, I cleaned a little bit more and took a nap.
Well, I'll help you set it up.
Okay. Well, definitely.
Is there a wallet that you recommend?
I've been kind of messing around with a couple of them. So far, MetaMask is what's called META Mask, MASK. It's cool. It's good so far. It's really, I'm super new to this world. I sort of kind of understand it from a technological standpoint, but I'm really just now like playing with all of it and seeing it. And it's some of the honestly cool stuff I've ever seen. Like these wallets act as like browsers, almost like it's an entirely separate internet. There's marketplaces for buying and selling digital goods. There's marketplaces for buying and selling physical goods. There's exchanges that are entirely blockchain based exchanges. So there's no like Coinbase that has to report to the SEC. It's just sort of a decentralized exchange, which are really, really cool. And then there are all kinds of stuff that are just kind of blowing my mind as I start to read through all of these different coins. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go buy any of these. Anyone who might be listening, do your research and know the risks when it comes to investing. But there's one, it's called a Cosmos coin. And what they're trying to do is set up a decentralized internet, blockchain internet. That's just a whole separate internet that it can't really track data the same way. It sort of keeps the internet individualized, and you get to organize it the way you want and set it up. And it's there. I mean, Mark Cuban was talking about how he thinks the future of the internet is going to be a blockchain internet where your personal data is essentially an asset, and you can, use it to sell to someone so that you can use their service, or it just makes it more of a kind of real situation. Like if you're going to be used as the good on Facebook, you should be getting value from that. Or if I'm selling something or if I'm giving something to Facebook that they're selling, maybe I want to think about how I should be paid for that. And this kind of sets that up. I mean, but there's all kinds of crazy coins. There's like blockchain based video games and computer games. And one of them is like it's kind of like Second Life, like an MMO. You just have an avatar run around, but your coins, for this one, like you can buy and purchase plots of digital land and then do stuff. Like there's all kinds of stuff. People like play music on their plots of land, and other people show up to listen. Like it's creating a whole different way for the internet to work. It's like a whole reimagining of how we interact with, all this stuff online. And it's really, really cool. And I mean, the big institutions have caught on. They understand that things are moving in this direction, and they're starting to pour tons of money into it. And the market's really volatile right now because of it. Things are going up and down really in crazy ways, and things will shake out. Some coins will, win in the end, and some won't. But it's a really whole new frontier, and I'm pushing it so hard right now to all the people I know, because it's like people think they're too late to get into it, but it's never like this is the best time. Really, this is when everything's growing. Like, have you ever heard of an NFT, or a non-fungible token? Like, I don't even know exactly how this works, and it's really cool.
Wait, non-fungible. Okay.
Cannot be fun.
Just had to double check that is what the words you were actually saying. All right.
Yep. NFTs, but it's kind of like putting a digital copyright onto something and making it like so you can't replicate it. So I as a digital artist can make anything, right? I go draw a picture, right? Concept art for a video game. And then I throw it up at an auction site, like kind of eBay, but on these blockchain networks. But then whoever buys it owns it in a way that you can't really copy it, can't be replicated. So this is like a physical asset that you bought, even though it's a digital painting. So it's the original, it's a thing, like just like your coins are a physical asset that I could buy and sell it or do whatever with it, like I just bought someone's painting. Keep it up, and I could make my digital plot of land a museum of all the different NFTs I bought from artists, kind of thing. And it can't be replicated. It's just a way of proving authenticity and making, like, people are right now, it's a whole new world. People are just like exploding into it and throwing up anything. But it's like digital pictures, GIFs or videos or paintings, anything that can be, digital art is a thing that can be an NFT. So, instead of me just putting up a drawing of mine on Facebook where everyone says, oh, save the gallery, and then show all my friends, and that artist never gets paid for their work. This is a way of, I made this one painting, and you can buy it like a painting and do what you want with it. Resell it, that's up to you. But it's like you went to an artist store and bought it. And no one really was thinking that's how the internet would work, and people are still saying things like, oh, what if you just screenshot a picture? And it's true, you could, but if you tried to put it up online, it would be a screenshot of picture, not the actual painting, not the actual digital asset. And it's a really cool movement. There's so much just like new ideas in this area. It's going to completely change the way we interact with the internet, and also like global trade and money, all of it.
Interesting.
It's hard to see the big picture of it, but I think that's really why the big institutions have finally bought into it, because they see where it's going.
And I think one of the real important pieces is like the not just the institutions that have bought into it, but the people and the companies that are using it. We now have NFL players getting their paychecks in Bitcoin. That's a
Really?
thing.
I keep
Yes.
throwing up stories of it too, like just
Dude,
a PvP that it's
I
so small
love
and
Russell
important.
Okung. Can we just talk real quick about Russell Okung? He is Carolina Panther. Is that correct? I think he might have just got traded. He's a freaking football player. He's a linebacker, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He has the most based Twitter account in existence. Everyone should go follow him. He was the first NFL player to get paid in Bitcoin. He tweeted out back in like 2017 or something like that, pay me in Bitcoin. And finally made that shit a reality this year. Yeah, he is. I'm trying to look it up real quick because I don't want to be wrong about who he played for. And also so I can throw up the handle. I have a list you get that is on Twitter that's celebritarians, that is celebrities that I think really are libertarians.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's a bunch of secret ones.
Yes. So like Lewis Black and Rob Schneider, and other.
Probably Norm
Other-
Macdonald too. Falling into that list.
Ooh, should be in there. Yeah. Also Matthew McConaughey needs to be added to the list here pretty soon.
He's been more vocal about it. He's like,
Yeah. Yes. Russell Okung. That's the at. Yeah, his bio is life, liberty, and Bitcoin. Like this dude is super based. Big fan.
yeah, I mean it's really cool what's happening with all of that.
Mhm.
And I mean, paper money was always gonna die. It had to. And gold
Right.
and metals, there's not enough of it in the world to actually work as a currency that functions well.
Mhm.
And even just like all the copper and zinc and nickel we use for the rest of them,
Yep.
it's not a feasible way to continue trading.
I have a question. So my understanding is that Bitcoin fluctuates a lot. Like even last year, it was way lower, wasn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
And so my concern with it is that it's not stable. So like if we exchange $5, like I know that I can get a coffee for $5 consistently, right? I mean, there's inflation, but it's small, and so that's something that I don't get is how can Bitcoin be money if it's $5 one day and $100 the next day, and like
Totally.
yeah.
It's there's a couple things that really go into this, and the first one is that the volatility of Bitcoin is actually sort of because it's smaller, and you can't use it everywhere. Really, like now's actually a good example, right? Where the entire market cap of Bitcoin is almost $1 trillion right now. So for 10% a drop in Bitcoin, you have to move like $100 billion from its market cap. Whereas, 3 years ago, that market cap, you'd only have to remove, a couple billion, and it would swing the price way, way bigger. But there are also like it's right now, it's probably best to think of things like Bitcoin like stock, right?
Mhm.
You buy it for $10, it goes up or down. When you pull it out, that's the amount of money you have. But what most people don't know is that there are things called stable coins, and they are like USDT or US dollar tether, or that's literally the price of that coin will always be one coin is $1. That's the point of it. So if I put $20, or I say bigger, so I have 20,000, I buy 20,000 USD tethers, right? Then I don't know which bank it is. I think there's a couple across the world. They basically take that money and then buy cash, and then just have cash on hand. That's my cash at $1 per coin. And then so I can, move it around like stock market. I put it in Bitcoin because I think it might rise, and then it does. So I take it out and put it in USD Tether, or there's another one called USDC, which is US dollar coin. And then, so that is a way to just keep it stable. So you can like play with the stock market, but then also move it all to a digital currency that is still digital currency, works in the same way as Bitcoin or all the others, but its price is stable. Then there's other ones called like Pax Gold, which is it's tied to the price of gold. So it's like buying gold. And if you ever cashed out with a couple of these, you don't actually get money into a bank account, you cash out by giving them your address, and then they send you gold bullion from London. I think is where that one comes from. There's a couple of them, and there's a couple, mints that send that. But yeah, so
Interesting.
if the volatility of the market is the thing that's kind of scary to you, then the thing people need to learn is that there are these stable coins. And the first thing you could do instead of buying Bitcoin is move your money to US dollar coin. So it's going to be the same amount of money as it would have been in your bank, but then it's ready to go. If you're like, oh, I hear Bitcoin's going to swing, it's going to go up, right? Elon Musk tweeted or something. So you just put your US dollar coins, you just buy some Bitcoin, and then it goes up, and then you sell them or really convert them back to US dollar coin. And then that's kind of just how the stock market works.
Yeah. The other important thing that I like to bring up on this is, the price of Bitcoin compared to the US dollar changes on a daily basis, but the price of the US dollar compared to the yen changes almost on a daily basis as well. So comparatively, Bitcoin fluctuates more than most currencies, right? Like that, I'll admit, but it's still not like currencies don't normally fluctuate. And the reason why it seems like so much bigger of a deal, like Zach said, is because it's not being used all over the place. People aren't going to in real time change the price tags on the stuff in their store to be from 2 Bitcoin to 2.01 Bitcoin because it fluctuated that little bit. It'll kind of stable out, it'll be 10 Bitcoin for a haircut or whatever, and that'll kind of be a normal thing for a little while. And I think as more people start to use it, the fluctuation of Bitcoin to dollar won't be as important because people won't care what it means to the dollar. They care how much Bitcoin they have.
Yeah. Plus, Bitcoin is really. I just lost my train of thought. I don't even know where I was going with it.
Gotta stop smoking so much, bro.
The curse. The curse of the marijuana is what it does. It's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Well, it just sounds like it's still very tied to the US dollar. But I guess you're expecting that in however many years it won't be.
Well, that's the thing. Bitcoin, it can really only increase in value so long as it's used as a currency because it has a hard cap. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, period. That is the only amount of Bitcoins that will ever exist. And something that what's it called? It's called a Satoshi is what it is the lowest unit of Bitcoin that's traded, and it's 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. So that's the other thing. People are always like, I don't. It's too late. How do I buy in? That an entire Bitcoin is, what is it now? Like $45,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't need to. It's all about you don't need to buy a whole one. It's about the.
That's why when you said 10 Bitcoin for a haircut, I was giggling over here.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, there's obviously.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
Oh, wow, it actually shot back up today. It's 49.
Ooh, sweet.
Yeah, too bad I sold a little bit of it yesterday.
I've been using it as currency. Like, I know it's totally volatile and it's
Same.
not like it'll be worth. Like, it sucks. 10 years from now when I look at it, like, oh, I can't believe I used some of it. But also, I put all of my money in my bank. I don't have any fiat money anymore. It's all in Bitcoins and different coins. I threw it all in there, and between Cash App and the exchanges, I can just send Bitcoin to Cash App, cash out right there, and Cash App, it gives you a debit card. So I have a card. I just spend it on whatever I want, and then if I, put too much in at the end of the day, I can be like, oh, I'll go buy the Bitcoin again and throw whatever's left back into Bitcoin and hope it grows.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or conversely, you can just send Bitcoin from one to another and buy things with it the way that I just purchased some of my LSD the other day. So, you can, and there's parts of the country, specifically in states like Arizona and New Hampshire, are where it's a little bit more popular. But like Manchester, New Hampshire is a city where There's restaurants and bars and like gift shops, comic book shops, barbers that all take Bitcoin. Like it's actually a currency in Manchester, New Hampshire, at like 20% of the establishments, 10% of the establishments, maybe. But it's at a place where it's catching on. More people are doing it, and eventually, yeah, I do think that science will say we accept Discover, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Bitcoin. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you're literally getting Bitcoin rewards now, like cashback rewards, mileage rewards, or Bitcoin rewards. That's like the first rollout of this like wave that's happening with Visa. These like Bitcoin rewards, and once it really is like very widespread and people just using it like regular, I mean, honestly, it's going to be a lot of like, it's just the tech, getting companies and stores to all have something that can work with a blockchain instead of the regular internet. And it'll take a little bit, and people only kind of like a lot of places that accept cryptocurrencies only accept Bitcoin, right? And it's like an exchange has to add each coin and does it separately because it's like adding a new blockchain to their network, so it's complicated. You kind of got to buy in. So really, like that's what I was saying, like USD Tether, that's $1 a coin, and I'm pretty sure stable coins will be more of my personal opinion, again, not a financial advisor, but I think those will be the more like how we trade with stores, and then the rest will be kind of treated more like stocks, because like all the coins that I'm currently bought in on, I'm buying in on it because of the tech that backs it and what they want to do with these coins. That Cosmos coin wants to create an internet of blockchains. It's like Mana. It's like Decentraland. Is that a game one that you can buy?
Yeah,
I just bought some of that because it sounded cool.
Mana.
Tell me about that.
Well, that's the one that you buy digital plots of land with.
Oh, what?
Yeah, no, if it's like play.decentraland.org, and then you just go make an account with an avatar and log in, and then you hook it up to your wallet, and then you use those tokens to buy land in this video game and like buy, sell, trade digital goods or services and all kinds of shit.
Could that be a scam? I'm just thinking right now, like, so then I'm buying it from whoever made this digital land. So they just made this fake place, and then they're like, pay us for our fake place with your real money. Sorry, I'm a little skeptical.
It's more, I'm not so well versed on the tech, but it's called a proof of stake coin, and that's how these internet of blockchains things work. Is that they're basically bouncing signals back and forth, and you're just doing math proofs to prove that information is either correct or not, and then like your ownership in these coins lets the blockchain function. So it's more like you're buying in on a stock, and based off the number of stock you have is the amount of digital land you could purchase. And I don't actually know like if Mana has a cap on it, or how they would deal with it, like Dogecoin. Like they technically, people say it doesn't have a cap, right? You could create an infinite amount of Dogecoins, which isn't technically true. Like Bitcoin has a hard cap, which is there will only ever be a certain number of them. But Dogecoin has, it's basically the amount of Dogecoins that can be created per minute is what's capped. So it's like 10,000 Dogecoins a minute is created or something like that. But as time goes on, that's going to be a smaller and smaller percentage of what it's adding into the market. And it actually, the reason that exists is so that it can keep up with inflation in the opposite way. As populations grow, that the amount of currency gets spread out, never does all the super annoying things when currency gets ultra concentrated. But there's all different ways that these coins and coin makers deal with the caps and what you get for buying in, or how you would use those coins. But it's sort of more like stock. Like I wouldn't think of a Mana token as like this is my currency, except for their little network, right? Yep. And if I wanted to go to a Lululemon and buy a gift, I would want to turn that into something that is more of a currency.
I'm sorry. The fact that Lululemon is the example.
That was a great example.
A gift there like yesterday. First thing that popped into my head.
For who? Oh, I'm like, I don't think I could ever picture you shopping at Lululemon. But all right.
But my brother would. It's like,
I thought you were
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
using
your
that
brother.
for it looks like a yoga person.
You do. Um, the other cool thing that I like about crypto is, as you're describing all of the different cryptocurrencies that are out there, it's like cryptocurrency is for the people that used to read like choose your own adventure books as kids. It's like the people that are really nitpicky about like wanting it their way. And it's like you can find the crypto that works the way that you want it to for the most part. And if you can't, you can build it. That's also an option. Learn how to build one and build it. If you wish that it worked just this little tiny different way, fucking do that. But for the most part, you can probably find one that solves all of the problems that you have with Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum are definitely the more popular ones, and they solved a lot of problems that people had with just the original like digital markets. But then there's issues with both of those, or at least subjectively to everybody. So now there's going to be a million of
Ethereum's
them.
having a real problem, and they're doing. I mean, what Ethereum is doing in terms of the things that they're creating and enabling is awesome. But the problem is that too many people are using the network. It's too popular, and now the exchange fees are astronomical. People will like. I tried to turn one coin into another on an exchange. It's a DeFi. I think it's called a DeFi exchange called Uniswap or 1inch. Either way, it's like I wanted to just turn $18 of a token into another one, and I would have had to pay $105 fee to do it. And it's 100% based on network traffic, and so it's not like
they need more miners, like
that.
very
And
quickly.
Again, I'm not the techie kind of person on this, not like a real coder, but something about the Ethereum network is it's not that it's artificially slowing it, it's that it can't work faster, right? So and the amount of people trying to use it is a problem.
Yeah.
But there's actual tokens and coins that are trying to solve this. I think one's called like Polkadot. I'm not too sure if that's one of them. But they're just exchanges and ways to use the block.
I'm loving this conversation so much.
Oh my god! Like some of these coins are absolutely ridiculous. There's Bitcoin. That's an interesting one. I think there's one that's like an escort coin that's just for like escort services. There's coins for everything.
You're not going to give us the name?
I don't actually know it. I read a story.
Sure.
Just look up escort coin. I'm sure it'd be like right up there.
I don't think I'm gonna search that. No.
Maybe that's what Sushi Swap is. I don't know. There is a coin named Sushi Swap. I don't know what it is.
No.
I haven't looked into that one.
I don't.
There's just thousands.
Yeah.
So
that was
into all of them, and like the tech that they offer or what they're trying to build is the research you should do on your own before buying into any crypto. But some of them are hilarious.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm loving this conversation, but we have to do one quick announcement before we run out of time. So the Fight for Liberty show now has a merch store where you can purchase. Currently, we launched with 3 products. There is a mug, a T-shirt, and a beanie with various logos on them. So I'm trying to. There we go. Maybe. I'm trying to share the screen and it's not working correctly. There it is. So yes, you can get these wonderful products. And for this week, there is a coupon code launch that you can use to get a couple bucks off. So that is the fun things that we're doing over here at the Fight for Liberty show.
Cool.
Nice. Dig it. I'll have to get myself a beanie.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to actually order some of the samples for this because I want to wear this shit around.
Ooh, always order samples. I tried to make mugs before, and I ordered 2 samples, and both were bad, and they like kind of melted. Just check it.
Oh yes. Luckily, I have a few friends that own similar merchandising stores, and so I was able to ask for recommendations, almost step by step, throughout the whole process of who to work with and who to partner with, and so it's on Shopify. So it's fight-4-liberty.myshopify.com, and so. Yeah, luckily I was.
Just hang on to it and then wait until David's like a lot bigger, and then it'll be a collector's item.
I mean,
Can we buy it with escort coin?
Good question.
I don't know. I don't think so. Not yet. I will get on that though. That's a problem that we need to solve right now. Hopefully, we can hire a finance director for the company, maybe Mr. Josephs,
on to one
and
of the-
he'll set us up a bunch of crypto wallets.
Go on to one of the blockchain marketplaces, see if there's some artists who can't make up some shirts for you.
There is
I'll take
that.
crypto.
I really do love just the overall wonderfulness that is the blockchain community, though. It's just there's so many really cool things that happen when you make stuff open source,
Mhm.
and
That's one of the
it's
best
fun.
parts about this by far.
Mhm.
But, it's how Dogecoin exists. They're like,
Right.
oh, Bitcoin's a thing, and they just copied Bitcoin and then removed the cap, and we're like, all right, meme coin, enjoy, internet. And
Yeah.
now it's worth more than like I don't know, it's insane. Dogecoin I think has a bigger market cap than Visa.
Does it really?
Is-
Hold on.
Bitcoin is,
I'm going
like
to
13%
Google.
the way of being bigger than the actual Federal Reserve.
What?
Yeah, that blows my mind every time. They're double-digit percentage of the way to just overtaking the Federal Reserve in terms of market cap.
Dogecoin market cap is currently it's not telling me where I thought it was going to tell me. I don't like DuckDuckGo sometimes. Market cap, there we go. Holy fuck.
Yeah, there are countries that don't have that much money.
Yeah, it is currently 11. No. 1 trillion? Yeah, 1.1 trillion.
Really? Since when?
No. No, sorry.
Bitcoin's market cap.
128 billion. 128 billion.
Still a lot.
The total coin market cap, like basically crypto in general, is at $1 trillion.
Man, that's crazy because Bitcoin is most of that. Bitcoin is like itself about to hit $1 trillion in market cap.
Yeah.
Like just yesterday, someone bought another $5 billion worth of Bitcoin at $48,000 a coin. So for the people who think it's too late, billionaires disagree.
Yep.
Like you should listen to them. They're trying to make money.
I love the fact that Elon Musk is buying Dogecoin. That's my favorite.
It's just kind of the whole Elon Musk contribution to this crypto boom is endlessly hilarious to me.
It's so
all he
beautiful.
did was announce buying some Bitcoin, and the price of it went up from like 32,000 to 42,000 in a couple of hours. Where everyone was just like, "Oh crap!" Like, here's something that blows my mind: Elon Musk, because when he bought that, the Bitcoin, $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, when it was like 35,000 or 32,000, whatever it was, he's made more in profit from holding the Bitcoin for a month than he has the entire time from Tesla.
What?
The entire company, Tesla, has not made as much profit as Elon has made just in a month from holding Bitcoin. That's really what triggered all the billionaires and big institutions to be like, oh, we got to get in on this now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And he's hilarious. He's just like memeing all over the place and just like accidentally pumping Dogecoin. Thoughts on
I love
first
the
son.
meme.
It's so great. It is. So I would if this was something that someone was doing next time around. Stacia, Stacia, we talked about. I'm gonna mess that name up
Yeah, I
like
was gonna.
many times. That's gonna get messed up in my head. Because I've said it a bunch of times before I found out I was saying it wrong. So it was. We're gonna get there. Uh, but I think we were talking about preferred presidential tickets. I would campaign to change the constitutional law of the United States to campaign for Elon Musk for president.
Ah,
Like,
interesting.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's not currently legal, but
I know.
we
I've
can
looked
do
into
that.
it.
I mean, when the Dogecoin army is worth more than the Federal Reserve, we'll change it.
Can you imagine like a memeing president? Like the memes would be amazing. I mean, I guess the Trump memes are amazing, but like the Elon memes.
It's a whole
That's what I
different
said.
ballgame.
I think on Facebook was I don't know who at this point would hedge their bets against memes. They've elected presidents and changed economies.
For real.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing that this generation has accomplished. That's why I hated TikTok for so long, right? When TikTok first came out, I was like, it's dumb. It's just a time suck. All these like dumb Zoomers just doing silly dances. And there's some like super like ethical and like moral issues that I have with the app as well. But then it started doing a bunch of cool shit. And now there's like people sharing codes to like 3D print guns on TikTok. There's people that the a lot of this crypto and the Wall Street bet stuff ended up spilling over into TikTok. It was kind of like Reddit and TikTok. Twitter almost had very little to do with this one.
I mean,
Really?
compared
Or
like, the amount
at
of
the
users
beginning,
on
I
these
should
social
say.
media platforms, like Twitter is like one of the smaller ones.
Mhm.
Like people kind of hate Twitter because they think it's like just an evil place for mean people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is kind of that. It is a little bit of
A little bit.
I'm new
exactly
to
that.
Twitter. It's still fresh for me.
I mean, I still
Well,
love it. But
yeah. I'm
it's,
glad that you got to meet nice people in its original form. Yeah.
Me too. I have a question. If it might be a long question, or maybe I don't
Go.
know. Is that okay?
Go for it. Yeah.
With
Please.
3 minutes left. Okay. So okay. I've been listening on Clubhouse to people talking about the media, and where it's going. And a number of people have talked about how they think it's going open source, or to the blockchain. Or I'm not sure if they said to the blockchain. I might have imagined that. But is there a way that like a news company could use blockchain?
Oh, totally.
Mhm.
I mean,
Okay. How? Like
it's
I don't
really-
get that.
it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish, right?
Mhm.
Like let's say I go buy a plot of land digitally, right?
Mhm.
And then every day at 4 I host a show, right? A live stream show. But only the people who are logged into my plot of land can actually view it. And then I, have a ticket entry price or something. So it's a way to keep your content going to your audience if you wanted to use it that way. I mean, really, the media in itself is heading to a just decentralized kind of way of working in itself, because these giant corporate media conglomerates, they don't make the kind of money that they used to from hiring full teams of reporters to go out with cameras all across the world. So we're going to start seeing more people who are reporters, who are like experts in a field, but in their house on a Zoom call talking to someone in front of a green screen. And so it's just going to be kind of broken up and decentralized. And that's the best part about the blockchain network, is really just there's a privacy aspect to it, and kind of you keep your data aspect to it. So it's just more of kind of in your control. But like if you go download MetaMask, right? That's a good example because it really just works like a web browser, right? While you're on it, you would. It's not that it browses the actual internet; it browses its blockchain internet. But the way that it functions, it feels like a browser. It feels like just using the internet, right?
So,
And then there are like apps, like these
Mhm.
D apps, what they call like small D, apps, and these are like the DeFi apps. And I don't see why someone couldn't just make like a newscast room app kind of thing. Maybe like your network with all the different reporters and all their different shows is just on that app, but instead of an app hosted by Apple on the Apple Store, it's a blockchain app on the DeFi blockchain network.
could a newspaper? I was thinking when you said the unfungible or whatever.
Non-fungible token.
Yeah, I was wondering if a newspaper could use that to protect content, or is there a way? So, I don't know if you were watching earlier, but I'm starting a digital news publication with some friends, and um, I'm I'm both nervous about censorship, right? Like if we start putting out, real stories. Oh, thank you. Although the site isn't nice right now, but it will be. But I mean, like it's the coming soon page. But yes, save it.
But you can sign up for emails, and you can save it to your favorites, and you can
Yes,
share it all over the place. So
yes.
it's still there.
Thanks. Yes, do it. Yeah, we'll send
Here's
out an
something that you
email.
could consider that would be really cool, I think, at least.
Yeah,
Say you make an app, right?
yeah,
And almost like Patreon, where there's tiers of content.
yeah.
So that
Well,
someone like we'll just imagine like you could create a token almost. You could create your own news coin, right? And then people who interact with your news get that coin, and then you can that how you turn that into value is based off of how you grow as a company. But it really like how you could use this blockchain to be a newsroom. It just depends on what your specific goals are, but you absolutely could. I think one of the best ways would be like create an app, like a DeFi app,
yeah.
so that you could throw up all of your all videos that you make. You could section it by whatever content creator or by the type of news that it is, and then you could either make it free so that people can download the app for free and then like make an account and then pay for individual news stories, like you're buying a newspaper or you're paying for that day's news or that month's news, or you could have it so that you can't even enter your app without paying, but then once you do, you have the access to the full suite of content. And
Another
there's no such thing as censorship. That can't happen. Like
yeah.
Because of this is a decentralized network, there's no way for any authority to go in and just stop you from existing. They can't stop people from going to it. You only ever get promoted so much as other people share your content, but that's how it should be.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add in because we're talking about rewarding with a coin. One of the streaming services that we use for free speech media, which is the media team that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. It's the little logo above my face. They actually pay in cryptocurrency the people for watch hours and engagement and comments and likes and stuff like that. The interesting part is the viewers can't cash out of that, but they get this crypto that they can then donate to whatever streamers they like. So it gives them a little bit of a bonus to begin to donate and support the streamers that they care about and that they like, and kind of like break into that idea of actually paying for content, even though it's free content.
We're considering
the web
that.
browser Brave. If you ever use them,
Oh, I haven't.
they're one of my favorite. Brave. I check it out.
I have it on my phone. I still have Chrome because it has all my passwords and I need to transfer all that over, and that's like a 3-day process I haven't done yet, and I'm just
There's
waiting.
an import button. I'll show you where it is.
Oh really? Okay, we're gonna do that. I have Brave on my computer. I just don't use it.
Brave's so much better. Like not only does it have like pretty intense ad blockers and a couple other things that block like trackers and shit, but they have a token called it's BAT, Basic Attention Token, And that is like you set up a wallet through Brave, and as you interact with Brave, like there are different ways to interact, and they let you tip to, like, I go on Twitter on Brave. Any post has a little Brave donate button, and I could tip them with the basic attention token. But Brave has gotten big enough where the token started to be worth money, because the advertisers, like, that's where your attention's going. You're basically, they're paying you to click X on a pop-up every now and then, and you set the rate of these pop-ups and you just click on it. But the basic attention token is actually up like 40% in the last 2 days. It's like 60 cents each now. So I've like earned 10 basic attention token just by using Brave, but I can cash that out. I could just send that to my actual crypto wallet. It's worth real money. So not only does it, add block and block trackers, but Brave's paying me to use it.
That's awesome.
I've used something like that before.
I feel like there's probably a bunch of these now where these tokens, especially a lot of them that are smaller, where the tokens can't transfer onto a wallet and be worth money yet, but they'll get bigger, hopefully. And then if they do, it'll happen like BAT, and it starts to be a thing that more people agree that I'll accept this and trade you something else. And that's really all, any money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, I've really been diving more into the kind of these privacy aspects of the crypto world. But Brave is a good browser, and I mean, especially if you're concerned about things like cancel culture, it's impossible. It's not a thing that you can do on these blockchain networks or these D apps. You have a lot more control, and I mean, maybe a good way to go about it would be to kind of do it in parallel, where you have a YouTube channel and your crypto and your blockchain channel, and then you just know that I'm always going to be trying to push people to go and adopt the blockchain side of things. And then if I get my YouTube channel banned, the people who are really engaged with my content and are paying to see it, my revenue stream doesn't come from YouTube, so I can exist in whatever way I want.
Well, it's not video. We're doing like deep dive research articles, and so it's like a digital publication, like writing. Can you do that on blockchain? Yeah.
Any type of digital file can be one of those NFTs, an non-fungible token. So if it's a GIF, or if it's a Word document, or a video, or a picture, whatever, it can, like, you're basically just minting it. You're just saying that this has a number, a stamp on it now, and it's original, and it's got this number. And you can like, there are ones that I saw that were like sort of auctions, except it was more like this item is it gets thrown up, and it's up for sale for 15 minutes. And it will make as many copies as anyone buys in that 15 minutes. But then at the end of that 15 minutes, no more will ever be sold. So, there's ways like do it that way, where you could have like, on the day it comes out, buying and reading the news is cheaper. And then, it gets more expensive, or maybe it gets cheaper over time. So you want to read older stories. Someone looked it up, and they don't have to pay very much. It's not the new content. There's a lot of ways to organize it. And really, you just got to think of the blockchain and these apps as the exact same as the internet and the app store. It's just a different network that it's running on. And I don't know if it's totally segregated. Maybe there's some apps that communicate with the wider internet and bring some of that information in. I don't know too much on that, like the developer coding side of things, but I do know that you could use these blockchain networks and these apps to create a completely decentralized, protected news network. Definitely. I bet that already exists in some kind of form.
Probably. Well, guys, this is an awesome fucking conversation, and I am absolutely loving it. But we are pretty much out of time. It is 11:11, so everybody make a wish, or at least it's 11:11 for me. It's not that for either of you two. Okay. Check out the windows. But thank you guys so much for joining, both of you. I definitely look forward to having you both back on again in the very near future.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And thanks, guys, for watching. We will catch you back here again next time. And guys, don't go anywhere. The call stays on, so we're good.
Hey fighters, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. If you want to learn more or get involved, go to fightforliberty.com/join or reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Fight for Liberty. If you want to help keep the show going, Patreon and Cash App are the way to do that. We'll catch you back here next time. Until then, keep up the fight.